It's strange. It's odd, weird. It doesn't sit very well, but something that needs to be said. I loved listening to music so much that I wanted to create music and build a career creating music. And yet that very career itself made me not enjoy listening to music at all for 4 years, late 2015 to late 2019. I was studying mathematics, numbers and squiggles and stuff. I was studying at the University of Cambridge, and I was all on track to be an investment banker. I was halfway through my degree and I decided I love listening to music so much that I'm not going to be an investment banker. I'm going to be a DJ/musician person doing music things. And I made that decision only 6 months after first listening to electronic music. I did continue my degree. I got a certificate and everything. So look at me graduating, a very different world to the underground car park raves that I would go off to in the middle of term. I loved music so much that I would travel across the country to Manchester and Wales all by myself if my friends weren't available, just to listen to music, to experience it. 2 or 3 hours a day, most days of the week at the time, headphones on, just enjoying music, experiencing it. So it's very weird that I stopped enjoying listening to music. I mean, I only mention my background to sort of illustrate what I gave up in some sense to pursue this music path. That's how much I enjoyed listening to music. Let me show you the timeline on screen now. I should say the timeline makes it look like going full-time was a bad idea. I've had a lot of bad ideas in my time. I've pursued many bad ideas in my time, but this wasn't one of those bad ideas. It was a good idea. I enjoyed absolutely everything during that 4-year period. I enjoyed absolutely everything about the job. Creating things, analysing things, doing the work of actually making stuff. It was only the listening to music part that I just ended up not enjoying for reasons I'll explain. Ooh, and for those who don't know, I was initially a DJ and then a sound designer, then a tutorial content creator. A lot of it overlapped, and now I'm mostly a YouTuber, doing things such as sponsored videos. For example, was that a good segue? Today's video is sponsored by Leviathan 4 by Black Octopus Sound. It's aimed more at bass-heavy genres like dubstep, trap, drum and bass, future bass, bass house, things with bass in it. But at least half of it can be used in less aggressive genres too. It's a huge pack. So how did I end up not enjoying listening to music? 5 reasons, all independent, but all sort of happened around the same time. And it happened subconsciously. I didn't realise it was happening at the time. First of all, opportunity cost. When I went full time, so when I had enough paid work lined up such that I could always do more to earn money, all of a sudden spending, say, 2 or 3 hours listening to music meant I was spending 2 or 3 hours not earning money. I didn't feel like I had the luxury of taking a day or even 2 or 3 hours off not earning money. At least I felt I didn't have 2 or 3 hours free to hedonistically listen to music. I probably did if I sort of looked back at my time, but it didn't feel like I had the time. Music for me has always been an active experience, not a passive background experience. Okay, this may sound strange to people. I can probably just add this to the long list of things that makes me unusual, special and unique. I can't enjoy music as background music. My brain doesn't compute it properly. I couldn't even figure out this studio layout listening to music. When I put the music on, I think, right, okay, let's listen to some music and set the studio up and sort of think about where things should go and why and all that stuff. I couldn't do it. I just ended up sat in a chair listening to music for 2 hours, and then I realised I haven't done any studio thoughts at all. So I had to turn the music off to decide where everything goes. And here's the thing. Reason number 2. When I was listening for work reasons, all of a sudden there was this productivity expectation that I had to be productive with my time listening to music. I wanted to make sure I finished the 2 hours in a better position than when I started the 2 hours. It took the edge off. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still nicer to listen to music for work than it would be to, say, spreadsheets. What do normal people do for work? Definitely more fun than being a doctor. Everything's more fun than being a lawyer. It wasn't bad, I didn't enjoy it. And you can run into this same productivity expectation ruining things situation when you're focusing on building a social media following. It doesn't have to be money that you're trying to be productive about. Once you gain a bit of momentum, all of a sudden you have something to lose. This productivity expectation, it will make you enjoy stuff less, but you will be more productive, probably. I was more productive because of it, but you might enjoy stuff less or more. Some people enjoy it more. I enjoyed it less. And on top of that, reason 3, when I was listening for work, I had to listen with my brain engaged. I couldn't just zone out and just enjoy, not worrying about what was happening, just ingesting the music, enjoying. When I was listening for work, I had to at least have half my brain engaged, thinking about what's going on and why. So when you combine the productivity expectation with having to turn your brain on, all of a sudden, listening for work, it wasn't enjoyable. Reason 4, and this will sound obvious, but it's actually a nuanced point. Chances are you don't like doing even your favourite thing for 12 hours a day. Now, if you spend all week, say all your work week, not doing your favourite thing, and then all of a sudden Saturday comes around and you can do your favourite thing, then maybe you want to spend 12 hours in a row doing your favourite thing. But if you've done your favourite thing for 8 hours, Monday to Friday, and then you do it for another 8 hours, Saturday, in the daytime, after that 8 hours on the Saturday, do you immediately do 4 hours more of your favourite thing? Probably not. It's a long time, 12 hours. And on top of all this, reason 5, my job was to deconstruct and analyse music. Obviously, I have to deconstruct and analyse music to create tutorials, but as my job as a sound designer, I also needed to understand how music works, how it's made, how it's put together, how it works structurally, why do this, why do that. And spending 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day initially doing that, at least the electronic music I listened to, it lost the magic a little bit. It lost a little bit of the mystery of how did someone make, when I was at raves, I'd be sort of, wow, this is amazing. And then I'd look over to a friend and sort of sincerely say, what sort of weird alien made that noise? And obviously I didn't believe in aliens, but it was a sense of genuine wonder. Like, that's a noise I've never heard before. And my clothes are it's shaking me to pieces. The room's vibrating. And you're wondering, how is that made? That's insane. And who made that? How did that sound get made? Because I don't even know how that's made. And that's part of the mystery and the magic. And then once you learn that it's probably just massive with a bit of wavetable modulation and some distortion, it takes the edge off. And then when you see videos of your favourite pros, which you sort of idolise as gods, creating music, you think they've created this amazing thing with their genius, godlike, mystical powers. And it turns out they just dragged out a one shot from a sample pack library. And then that was the magicness. So in some sense, the magicness that I thought came from the artist wasn't from the artist. It was just from a sample pack. If you want to skip over these short sponsor sections, just use the chapters. Some of the samples are pre-processed and ready to drop directly into the project. And other samples are more raw ingredients that you can use to build your own sound. Loops, one-shots, bass, drums, of all kinds, including loops. I've already said loops. Effects, all kinds of effects. And MIDI. In fact, the MIDI in this sample pack is the first time ever I felt the MIDI in a sample pack is actually good. Weird for me to point out MIDI. That's probably not why people are buying this pack. Oh, and vocals. Lots of good vocals. So it's November 2015. I've started not enjoying listening to music. Why did I then continue not enjoying listening to music for 4 years? It was a good year or two between me going full time and having plenty of free time. And in that year or two, I just gotten used to not listening for fun. And then once you get in that routine and just used to doing a thing, going through your daily motions, it's kind of what you do. And here's something that people don't say. It's a message I do want to put out there. I know it's hard to imagine now, especially if you're new to music in general. You might eventually get bored of it. You might eventually, it might be less exciting eventually. That happened to me with some genres of music. And the mistake was I didn't then proactively at the time go out of my way to find other genres to be interested in. Nowadays, I listen to pretty much every genre, from tropical house to dark, obnoxious techno to hippity hop, reggae, everything, and not even just electronic music. I listen to everything. I know people say that a lot. When I first got into music, I got into music through dubstep, and that was my gateway into the world. Then I went into electro and drum and bass and electro house and outwards. I got into dubstep because of the new noises. And then I'd sort of heard them all, and then it took a few years for people to invent new noises, new production techniques, new trends, more technically. And so it makes sense that eventually, at least if that's why you like a genre, you might get bored of it. That seeking of something new and novel, exploring an interest unrelated to something you already know, that seeking of novelty is what got me into music in the first place. So it's natural that after a lot of years, you go off seeking again. And my problem was I didn't focus that seeking of novelty on new music. Should have aimed it at a different genre, but no, I let it wander. I let it wander into other music production territories and non-music production territories, which was good, but didn't help my not enjoying listening to music situation. Sea shanties. I enjoy listening to sea shanties, pirate music. I'd like to say that I just thought of listening to sea shanties one day, but it was actually, I heard Elon Musk on a podcast say he listened to it, so I thought, let's give this a go. Turns out sea shanties are great. Some lovely harmonies, which again is nice because I don't understand what's going on with harmonies and the music theory. So I just enjoy. I go, wow, that's nice. I don't think, I don't start mapping out the different harmonic structures when I listen to sea shanties. Just, they're lovely. Very, very lovely. Anyway, it took effort for me to catch myself and realise I was missing out on enjoying music. Speaking of missing out, you don't want to miss out on Leviathan 4, do you? It's the worst segue of all time. But at least you've experienced a new thing. The worst segue of all time. Last one, I'll be quick. And so, what happened? What happened in November 2019 for me to start enjoying listening to music again? Basically, I took the October 2019 completely off work to step back and reevaluate. Who is Multiplier? Where's he going? It'd been a while since I'd reevaluated the direction of Multiplier, the business, the brand, the internet man saying things on the internet. So I took that month off, and then in the November, I started building multiplier.audio, my website where we sell sounds. So I went from mostly making full-length tutorial courses to doing something completely different, spending most of my time building the company. That's what was happening. Now, I wish I could tell you there was some mystical or magical moment, some epiphany, maybe there was an eclipse, the sky goes dark, and then, you're right, magical owl. You've cleared everything up for me. I should start enjoying listening to music again. You've made it, that's epiphany, and then the sun rises, magic, and there was smoke everywhere, and I don't know how much of this is in editing. I'd like to say there was a moment like that, and that I'd also filmed it, but no, that wasn't the case. What really happened is, I think it was just a change of routine. Could have done it, and also I felt like I took the October off. I felt like I had the time to just hedonistically enjoy music again. Time off and a change of routine, that's not very exciting. Yeah, be better with the owl story would be much better. And I also got into this is slightly more interesting. This is actually maybe I should have learned how to talk in that October month off. Anyway, I got back into electronic music by first exploring new non-electronic music. Luckily, there's so much music in the world that there's always something you haven't heard before. And I'm not just talking about an artist or a certain subgenre. There are entire categories of music that you've never even heard of before, let alone listened to. And there's always more barbershop music. There's always, how many of you have really listened to barbershop quartets? I'll include a link to today's sponsor, Leviathan 4 by Black Octopus Sound, in the description below. See you in the next one.